Hello, Sacramento. Maybe you're renting. Maybe you're getting tired of paying off your landlord's mortgage. Well, there are some options. Did you know that most 401ks allow you to borrow up to $10,000 if you're a first-time home buyer? And that money does not deplete your retirement because you're paying yourself back. So you could actually get $10,000 towards your down payment and maybe get a gift from family relatives. Come up with 20% down. The average house in Sacramento now is about $500,000. And if you put 20% down and at current interest rates, your payment would be around $3,500 a month. If you're like an average renter in Sacramento, your average rent is about $2,500 a month. It's about $1,000 difference. That's a lot of money. You say, well, how can you offset that $1,000 difference? Airbnb. You can Airbnb one of your bedrooms and that'll pay for it. If you're working from home and working online, you could write off part of your home. All the interest that you pay on your home is tax deductible, and any improvements that you do will be tax deductible down the road when you sell. So there's lots of ways to make up that $1,000, and guess what? You're not paying off your landlord's mortgage, you're paying yours, and you're building equity in an asset. Now today with me I have my friend Brian, who went through a similar situation. He's going to talk to you about what happened to him and how he rebuilt his credit. Brian.
Hey, thanks, Tim. What happened to me is I got into a house when I was 18. I had a 10% first and a 9% second. So for everybody out there crying about 7% interest rates, I feel you. I was paying $3,600 a month for a house at the time. It was $320,000 home that I purchased. So that's right in par there with about the $3,500 that you would be spending for a 3-bedroom. I rented out rooms. That's definitely how I was able to afford that mortgage. At 18 years old, I knew that buying a real estate asset was probably one of the most important things that I could do in order for long-term gain. I don't want to work until I'm 77. I want to own as much real estate as possible. It's like Monopoly, trade it all in, apartment building on Park Place, and just collect money. I was selling real estate. The real estate economy busted in 2010, 2011, and I found myself stuck where I had just bought a new home with my wife. We just got married. I was doing a short sale on my first home that I bought, and it ruined my credit. So I went down to about a 400 credit score. And to come back from that, I got a secure credit card. It saved up $100 a month for 2 years, got a secure credit card for $2,000, and then get enough credit built to be able to get a travel credit card through airlines, through Southwest. Through that for 2 years, I used that card, making sure that I paid just my utilities and things like that, and then immediately paid it off with direct deposit so I didn't have to worry about it, and set up online bill pay. I needed to keep myself from myself because I wasn't good with money at the time. I was able to build enough credit. My wife was able to quit claim me onto the property because my credit had been shot. Now I had credit. I took out that $10,000 from my 401k. I was able to use that as a down payment on another property. And then I was able to take out my stocks and use that as the additional funds for my down payment on an additional property that was the same size, the same payment. We didn't think we were gonna be able to afford any of those payments. We ended up renting out our other property for more than what the mortgage was because the great thing about real estate, our values constantly increased. So now we had this equity in our home. We refied at the time, and now our payment went down because it was worth more than what it was worth before. My credit was better. We had more money in the bank because we were doing better at our jobs over time. Through that, we now own multiple properties. I rent out rooms in my house, so both are rental properties, and now I have a ton of write-offs. So I'm actually getting more money back owning 2 properties. I make more than when I lived in one house and was working 3 retail jobs because real estate fell apart. So if you don't think that you can buy a house, I'm telling you, you can. You need to work with a lender to find out your purchasing power, figure out how to clean up your credit, which Tim has a lot of really great resources. Go ahead and put down in the chat, just put resources in the chat if you want resources on how to clear up your credit, resources on what your purchasing power is and how much you can afford with your different assets that you have to be able to buy a home. And then also what options that you have available that are currently out there on the market. Once you know those things, you can work with Tim to go out and start looking at houses, and then you just put in offers and then you just buy a house. Figuring out how to float the house for the rest of that can be scary, especially if you're used to a certain payment that you're making now. Making some small sacrifices, improving your situation, all of these things give you the ability to own multiple pieces of real estate, build an asset, have something for retirement where you're not relying on the government for Social Security. Really get to a point to where you can work less because you make more.
Work smarter, not harder. What a story. So, if you like what Brian said, be sure and like and follow me below, and see ye for RE, timshometour.com. You could be a buyer too and stop paying your landlord's mortgage.